What if your hand held the blueprint to lives you don't remember living? What if a faint line etched in your palm carried the emotional fingerprint of a soul that has wandered across centuries? Whether you believe in reincarnation or not, palmistry, an ancient art that spans from Indian sages to Greek mystics, claims your hands know more than your mind ever could. And within these lines, especially one in particular, lies something even more profound: clues about your past lives. Maybe you've looked down at your hand and seen something strange, a broken line, an unusual curve, or a mysterious mark no one else seems to have. What if that mark isn't random at all, but a spiritual breadcrumb? A whisper from the universe saying, "You've been here before." In today's video, we're diving deep into the forgotten language of palmistry to decode what your palm says about who you were before this life began. We'll explore spiritual and psychological perspectives, uncover rare signs that could reveal deep karmic patterns, and walk through how to read these lines for yourself and others. You'll learn what the mystic cross really means, how the shape and depth of your lifeline could point to trauma from another lifetime, what Buddhist and Hindu teachings say about the soul's journey through hands, and how your palms may be trying to help you break free from past life loops so you can finally move forward. This is more than just curiosity. It's about healing what's hidden. And by the end of this video, you might just see your hands and your life in an entirely new light. So stay with me until the end, because that one subtle curve in your palm, it could be your soul's way of trying to remember something important. Let's begin with the first revelation. Long before modern science, long before written language, humans looked to the body for signs of the sacred. And among all body parts, the hand, always visible, always working, always touching, became a sacred map. In India, palmistry is known as Hasta Samudrika Shastra, meaning the ocean of knowledge within the hand. This practice stretches back over 5,000 years, embedded in Vedic wisdom that saw the body as a mirror of the cosmos. The Greeks adopted it too. Aristotle wrote about palm lines in 300 BCE, claiming they were not without reason, that nature had carved them with intention. But what if those lines don't just reflect this life, but others? Palmists throughout history believed the palm records not only physical experiences, but karmic memory. That is, imprints from past lives, echoes of pain, purpose, or unfinished lessons. Think of your palm as a living scroll, one that updates with each incarnation. Imagine that, your hand, the thing you see every day, quietly whispering stories of who you've been before. Take the lifeline, the curve that arcs around your thumb. In traditional palmistry, a short or fragmented lifeline doesn't necessarily mean a short life. It could indicate unresolved karma, a past life marked by trauma or unfulfilled dharma. Ever feel like you were born tired or born into struggle, without explanation? This line might hold the key. And then there's the lesser-known mystic cross, an X-shaped mark between your head and heart lines. In spiritual palmistry, this is considered a karmic signature, a sign you've lived many lives in pursuit of truth, wisdom, or spiritual service. If you have this mark, it's said you're a seeker, again and again. But here's a deeper question. Why would your soul choose to leave clues in your hand? Spiritual traditions suggest this, because your soul wants you to remember, to reconnect the fragments, to break patterns you've carried too long. And hands, your constant companions, are the perfect place to leave those messages. Have you ever looked at someone's hands and instantly felt they had old soul energy? That's not coincidence. That's resonance. You're sensing the energy encoded in their story. And if this is resonating with you so far, let me know in the comments below. What do your hands say about you? In the next section, we'll begin decoding each major palm line and what it could reveal about your spiritual past. Get ready to look at your hand like never before. Take a moment and look at your dominant hand. Find the line that curves around the base of your thumb, creating a semicircle toward your wrist. That's your lifeline. To the untrained eye, it might just look like a crease. But in spiritual palmistry, The lifeline is far more than a marker of physical vitality. It's the soul's trail through time. It's not just about how long you live. It's about how deeply you've lived before. If your lifeline is deep and unbroken, tradition says you may be carrying forward the strength of a life well lived, perhaps even one in which you fulfilled your soul's mission. You may feel grounded, resilient, and capable of weathering spiritual storms. But what about when the lifeline is faint, fragmented, or split? Palmists interpret this as karmic interference. A break in the line might represent a spiritual rupture in a past life, perhaps sudden loss, betrayal, or unfinished emotional business. These interruptions don't mean you're broken. They suggest you're in a life where healing is the mission. Does that resonate? Have you ever felt like you're repairing something invisible? Then there are lines that double, what palmists call a sister line or guardian angel line. These lines are rare. They're often interpreted as spiritual protection, perhaps a sign you're not walking alone. Some believe this companion line reflects a past life vow made to protect or be protected, now manifesting as invisible help in this life. Let's go deeper. If your lifeline curves outward with great space between it and your thumb, it may indicate a soul used to freedom, someone who's lived lives with autonomy, perhaps as a traveler or seeker. On the other hand, a close, tight curve might reflect a soul accustomed to duty, confinement, or control. Maybe this is the life you chose to break free. Why is this important? Because the line isn't just a record, it's an invitation. If your line reveals old bindings, you might be here now to reclaim your agency. If it shows repeated strength, maybe this lifetime is about sharing that strength with others. Buddhist teachings speak of samskaras, mental imprints from previous lives that shape our current tendencies. The lifeline may well be a visual samskara, a map of energetic grooves left by your soul's past paths. So next time you glance at your hand, ask yourself, am I following a path I chose before I was born? If this idea speaks to your journey, give this video a like so it reaches others who need it. Next, we'll explore the heart line and how your emotional karma may be written right there in plain sight. Look again at your hand. The heart line is the horizontal line that runs just below your fingers, stretching from the edge of your palm to somewhere near the middle or even beyond. This line is not just about love in this life. It can hold the echo of emotional experiences you've carried from many lifetimes. Have you ever fallen in love too quickly? Or struggled to open your heart at all? Do you often feel deep emotional responses that seem bigger than the moment requires? The heart line may hold the karmic key. In spiritual palmistry, a long, unbroken heart line may indicate a soul that has loved deeply and steadily over multiple incarnations. You may have been a caregiver, a partner, even a spiritual guide to others, and that pattern of emotional constancy continues now. But if the line is broken, wavy, or forked, that's where things get fascinating. Breaks can suggest heartbreak from past lives, abandonment, betrayal, or a love lost tragically. These echoes may show up today as fear of intimacy, chronic heartbreak, or even attracting the same kind of partner again and again. It's not a flaw, it's a karmic loop seeking closure. And then there's the fork at the end of the heart line, sometimes called the compassion fork. This is thought to signify a soul that once had to choose between love and duty, and in this life, it's here to learn to merge the two. You might feel torn between caring for others and following your own heart's truth. Ever felt that push-pull tension in your relationships? In Buddhist thought, our attachments, and the suffering that comes with them, often stem from previous experiences left incomplete. Your heart line might literally be the imprint of those attachments, and the emotional karma they generate. What about lines that curve upward toward the fingers? They may suggest a life history of expressive love, perhaps lives as poets, artists, or caretakers. You might be someone who feels love so fully that it flows into everything you do. Conversely, a flat or straight heart line might show emotional restraint. Perhaps you've lived through lives where emotions were dangerous, maybe you were betrayed, or had to keep feelings hidden for survival. And so now, part of your soul's work may be to feel again, to trust again. Here's a thought. What if your deepest relationship struggles aren't personal failings, but soul memories trying to be resolved? There's deep comfort in knowing this. The patterns you see aren't random and they're not permanent. Awareness is the first step toward healing, and your heartline is simply one way the soul speaks, asking, sometimes pleading, to be seen. In the next section, we'll shift our focus to the headline and uncover how your soul's intelligence and past life wisdom might be influencing your thinking today. The headline cuts horizontally across the middle of your palm, typically beginning near the lifeline and extending across the hand. In traditional palmistry, it reflects intellect and mental patterns, but in spiritual terms, this line can be a window into your soul's accumulated wisdom. Have you ever had an unexplainable knowing, or felt like you were born wise, with thoughts far beyond your years? That kind of innate insight may have less to do. People with this mark often experience the burden of awareness. You may feel emotions more deeply, sense things others don't, or struggle with a feeling of not belonging. This, too, can be karmic. It may be the residue of past lives spent in solitude, on the edge of society, or in sacred roles that distanced you from ordinary life. And here's something even more intriguing. The mystic cross often emerges during this life, developing more clearly in midlife or after a spiritual awakening. Some palmists believe this is the soul's way of activating a forgotten path, asking you to remember and return. Is it possible that a mark on your hand is a cosmic reminder of vows you once made? In many Buddhist and Hindu traditions, souls take vows across lifetimes to serve, to awaken, to protect. These vows, known as samaya, can carry spiritual momentum. The mystic cross might be a sign of such a vow ripening, and if you have it, you're being called not to be perfect, but to be aware. Even if you don't see this mark, don't worry. Many spiritual souls carry their mystic legacy in subtler ways, through dreams, feelings, or recurring life themes. But if you do see it, lean in. Your soul is speaking. Do you feel like you've always been drawn to the metaphysical? If so, this is your moment to reflect and perhaps even reclaim a path you once walked long ago. Up next, we'll explore another powerful indicator of karmic depth, the fate line, and what it reveals about soul contracts and life purpose. Look down the center of your palm. The fate line, sometimes called the line of destiny, runs vertically from the base of the hand, often moving upward toward the middle finger. Not everyone has one, and not all are equally defined, but when it's present, it carries a powerful spiritual message. Unlike the life, heart, or headlines, the fate line is less about how you live and more about why. In spiritual palmistry, it's considered a karmic map, an indication of your soul's purpose and the forces guiding you across lifetimes. Ever felt like your life has a certain pull to it? Like something larger is directing your path, even when you try to steer away? That could be your fate line in action. A deep, straight fate line suggests a life with a strong karmic mission. Those with this marking often feel compelled toward a particular calling or cause. They may not always understand why, but the inner drive is undeniable. Some believe this indicates a soul that made a clear contract before reincarnation, an agreement to carry out a purpose in this lifetime. But if the fate line is broken, shifts direction, or fades in and out, that tells another story. This may reflect karmic interference or lessons that have altered the soul's original path. It could suggest you're in a life meant for course correction, healing mistakes or attachments from past incarnations that veered you off course. A fork in the line can represent a spiritual crossroad. Perhaps you've had to choose between your comfort and your calling. Maybe that decision repeats across lifetimes, and this time is your chance to make a different choice. Interestingly, a fate line that starts high on the palm, or later in life, may signal a delayed awakening. Some souls need decades to remember their purpose. It's not a flaw, it's divine timing. Your karma may not bloom until the soil of your life is finally ready. And if you don't see a clear fate line at all, that's significant too. Some spiritual teachings interpret this absence as a sign of freedom. A soul that's worked through major karma may come into this life without a fixed path, free to create, explore, and evolve without spiritual debt. But freedom comes with its own challenge: discernment. Without the pull of fate, you must listen more deeply to intuition. Buddhist philosophy teaches that karma is not fate. It's momentum. It shapes, but doesn't trap. The fate line isn't your prison. It's your compass. And even if you don't follow it perfectly, the awareness of it can help you walk with purpose. So ask yourself, what are you here to finish? Or perhaps, what are you finally ready to begin? In our next section, we'll examine the less common but powerful markings that reveal karmic wounds, scars from past lives that may still be influencing your body, your mind, and your heart. Your palm doesn't only tell stories of purpose and potential, it also reveals pain. Just as a scar on your skin speaks of an injury your body remembers, certain markings on the palm may reflect emotional or spiritual wounds your soul still carries. These are often subtle, easily overlooked, but once you know what to look for, they become powerful clues to past life trauma. Have you noticed small, horizontal lines cutting across your life head or heart lines? These are called interference lines or trauma bars. In palmistry, they're interpreted as energetic disruptions, places where the soul experienced suffering so profound it left a permanent imprint. With awareness, forgiveness, and spiritual curiosity, you can reshape your karma, not by erasing the past, but by integrating it with love. So ask yourself, what's the story your hand is telling? And more importantly, what chapter are you ready to write next? If this reflection is speaking to something deep in you, take a moment to comment below. What's one line on your hand that now feels different, more meaningful? In our final deep dive section, we'll offer practical takeaways, simple techniques you can use to read your palm with spiritual clarity, and maybe even decode the lines of others with greater compassion. Now that you've explored the spiritual meanings behind each line, you might be wondering, how can I apply this in my life? Whether you're a curious beginner or a soul seeker on a deeper journey, here are some simple and empowering techniques to start uncovering your past life patterns, right from your own hand. These steps are designed to bring awareness, not dogma. Palmistry at its heart is about connecting with your intuition and letting your hand speak to you. Set sacred intention. Before you begin, before reading your palm, pause, close your eyes, take 3 slow breaths, silently say, I open myself to what my soul is ready to remember. I release fear. I choose truth. This centers your energy and signals that you're not just analyzing lines, you're listening to your spirit. Use natural light and a calm mindset by a window. Look at both hands, but focus primarily on your non-dominant hand for past life impressions and your dominant hand for current life progress. Why both? Your non-dominant hand is often considered your soul print, the karmic blueprint you brought into this life. The dominant hand shows how you've acted upon it. Examine the lifeline for fragmentation. Check your lifeline around the base of your thumb. Are there any breaks, forks, or overlapping lines? A break could signal unresolved trauma or sudden death in a past life. A fork may suggest a significant turning point, such as a spiritual awakening or geographical move in that incarnation. A double line indicates past life protection, a guide or guardian you're still connected to. Take note of where these appear. Closer to the top, early life karma. Middle, adult years. Or base, late life resolution. Study your heart line for emotional karmas. Look for islands or small loops, emotional entanglements or betrayals from past loves. Forks at the end, a sign you're reconciling love and freedom. Chains, or waviness, difficulty trusting, possibly from repeated losses in past lives. Ask yourself, what patterns in love repeat for me? 5. Trace the headline for soul intelligence. A long curved line suggests intuitive wisdom gained across incarnations. A short, firm line may point to lives of survival over reflection. If the line floats, it can show a disconnection from family or early life karma, possibly tied to abandonment in another life. Search for the mystic cross. This small X between the head and heart lines is powerful. Even if faint, it may appear more clearly with time or spiritual development. If you find it, consider journaling. What spiritual practices feel oddly familiar? When did your sense of purpose first awaken? Check for stars, squares, and triangles. These are subtle, but meaningful. A star indicates a spiritual breakthrough or gift. A square offers karmic protection, especially in times of crisis. A triangle suggests hidden talents, possibly carried over from prior lives, e.g., healing, teaching, artistry. Reflect on the fate line, if present. Ask, is it deep, broken, non-existent? A strong line may signal a returning mission. A broken or absent line invites creative freedom, a life to define on your terms. Keep a palm journal over time. Your lines may shift. Create a small journal to sketch your lines every 6 to 12 months. Note emotional shifts, life changes, or dreams that seem older than you. You'll begin to see a dialogue forming between your palm and your spirit. Bar. Read with compassion, not control. Finally, remember, your hand is not a verdict. It's a reflection. Let it be a sacred mirror, not a set of rules. If you ever read someone else's palm, do so with gentleness. Ask guiding questions, not hard predictions. Karma evolves through love, not fear. These tools are meant to reconnect you with your own wisdom. Don't rush. Just look, listen, and feel. You're not decoding a stranger's story. You're remembering your own. As we come to the end of this journey through your hands, take one last lingering look at your palm, not as a skeptic, not even as a believer,